Welcome back, dear learners. In this video, we are going to see the atmosphere and its components. Let us see what is atmosphere. Our Earth is surrounded by a huge blanket of air called the atmosphere. All living beings on the Earth depends on the atmosphere for their survival, as we all know. It provides us the air we breathe and protect us from the harmful effects of the sun's rays. It is basically the work of ozone layer which absorbs the ultraviolet radiations which are harmful to the living organisms on the Earth's surface. And without this blanket of protection, that means the atmospheric air composition, we would be baked alive by the heat of sun during the day and get frozen during the night. So the heat balance is properly maintained due to this atmospheric gases and other particles like water vapor and dust. So it is this mass of air that has made the temperature on Earth livable one. So the temperature maintenance is purely based on the atmospheric composition. That means the gases present in the atmosphere. And the air composition pressure vary with altitude. Altitude means the height. So if you go here, you will have different composition of gases and different temperatures. The variation in temperature and variation is atmospheric pressure you can encounter. So based on these characteristics, temperature and pressure and air composition variations, the atmosphere is stratified into different layers, starting from the troposphere. There are different layers available. So that is how the variation is taking place. We will see how the temperature and pressure varies with the altitude in the next video. And Earth's early atmosphere consists of primarily hydrogen. So in the early days, that means thousands of years ago, the atmosphere contains only hydrogen, not all other gases. Then the atmosphere changed significantly over the time, affected by many factors such as volcanism, life, and weathering. So all these changes happened within the atmosphere, and the present composition actually coming into picture. And recently, human activity has also contributed to atmospheric changes such as global warming, ozone depletion, and acid deposition. So these are all recent changes happening in the atmosphere due to the human activities. So something about global warming. The atmosphere is heating up above the normal range, and ozone depletion due to the release of toxic gases, ozone depletion taking place. Due to that, the rays are penetrating through the atmosphere and reaching the Earth's surface, which are really harmful to the human beings and all other living organisms. And acid deposition due to the industrial pollution, the acid deposition also taking place. And the atmosphere has a mass of about 5.15 into 10 power 18 kg. You can imagine the huge mass of the atmosphere, and several layers can be distinguished in the atmosphere based on the characteristics such as temperature and composition. So as I already told you, the different layers are distinguished in the atmosphere based on the temperature and pressure variations maximum. Uh, and this is about the atmosphere, general characteristics and introduction about the atmosphere. Let us see the composition, different compositions available within the atmosphere. The primary gas is nitrogen, N2. We can see the percent by volume 78.084, and the concentration in parts per million or milligram per liter, we can take it as 7,80,840 ppm. So this percent by volume only we will always look into it. And next to the nitrogen, oxygen is the major composition component available in the atmosphere. It's about 20.946. Approximately we will take it as 21. And 78 and 21, almost it's 99. Remaining 1% is had by the argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, krypton, and hydrogen molecules. So the argon has almost 1%, 0.934, and carbon dioxide, what we released into atmosphere during our breathing, and it's about 0.036. This carbon dioxide will play a major role in the global warming as well as the ozone depletion uh, point of view is concerned. And these are all the general composition of atmosphere by percent by volume, and you can see the concentration in parts per million. The oxygen is about 2,09,000 parts per million available in the atmosphere, and the argon is about 9,340 ppm, and the carbon dioxide is about 360 ppm. And we will see one by one. Nitrogen gas, it is as usual most plentiful gas in the atmosphere care. We take some amount of nitrogen into our lungs and exhale it during our respiration process, and plant need nitrogen for their survival. So through nitrogen fixing bacteria, plant take nitrogen from the atmosphere, and again the from the plant it will be nitrogen will be transferred into animals and human beings, and from the animals and as well as plants, the dead cells again release the nitrogen into the atmosphere or a soil and then into the atmosphere. So this is how the cycle goes on. This is called the nitrogen cycle. That balance has to be maintained. So we should not disturb the actual natural balance in the atmosphere about the nitrogen or any gases, any component you consider. And next plentiful gas, uh, apart from the nitrogen, is called the oxygen, the second most plentiful gas in the air. Humans and animals take oxygen from the air as they breathe. So we know that. And green plants produce oxygen during the photosynthesis process. They take the carbon dioxide, the oxygen, the same oxygen will be consumed by the humans and animals. This is how the actual cycle is going on. And actually, the way oxygen content remain in the air remains constant, and deforestation normally taking place, which disturb this balance. If plants and forest will gets reduced, and so the this balance gets disturbed. Next is the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is, as you know, the green plants use carbon dioxide to make their food during the photosynthesis process, and the humans and animals release carbon dioxide. These released carbon dioxide by humans and animals will be taken up by the green plants for making their food. So this is again a cycle. The production and consumption balance has to be maintained. The balance is upset by burning of fossil fuels such as coal and oil. While burning the fossil fuels, huge amount of carbon dioxide is released. So thereby the concentration and volume of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases. This adds the billions tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. This increased volume of carbon dioxide is affecting the Earth's weather and climate. This is the major driving force for the increased temperature, that means the global warming. And some other gases apart from the nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide, often referred to as trace gases. The greenhouse gases, principally carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. And these are all the principal gases in the atmosphere which affects the atmospheric components. And besides argon, neon, helium, and krypton, which is the basic composition of the atmosphere, xenon also may be present in some layers. And dust of mineral and organic composition, pollens and spores, sea sprays, and present in the atmosphere as a trace gases. And various industrial pollutants also may be present as gases or aerosols, like chlorine, fluorine, mercury vapor, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide. And again, one more important thing, this is water vapor. Water vapor is mainly responsible for this global warming effect, and is also influencing ozone depletion. The gaseous can take precipitation. It is direct precipitation or snowfall or anything, any kind of precipitation comes from the water vapor. The maximum amount in the atmosphere could be up to 4%. In If you take it in the volume aspect, you can expect 4% of water vapor in the atmosphere. And the amount of water vapor goes on decreasing from low altitudes to high altitudes. It's actually the altitude. Uh, if you if the water vapor goes on for higher altitudes, it actually condensates and forms as precipitation. So from low altitude, you can encounter huge amount of water vapor, and this water vapor reaches in the atmosphere through evaporation and transpiration from the Earth's surface. And finally, dust particles. Generally found in the lower layers of the atmosphere, dust particles. It is basically uh, uh, it keeps in suspension in the atmosphere due to the wind flow and found in the form of sand, smoke, and ozonic salt. And dust particles help in the condensation of water vapor. Actually, during the condensation, water vapor gets condensed in the form of droplets around these dust particles. Actually, the water droplets forms forms above the dust particles and uh, comes down the Earth's surface as a rainwater. Due to this process, the clouds are formed and precipitation is made possible. So water vapor and dust particle both are very important for the precipitation to take place. So these are all the natural process and natural composition present in the atmosphere, which we all have to know. Thank you for the listening.